Hi everyone, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm really happy you're here. Tonight, we're going to go on a calm and quiet trip to learn something amazing. So get comfy, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy this peaceful science story together. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? If you like relaxing science videos, don't forget to tap the like button. Now let's begin. There is a soft world inside your head. A world that moves even when you stand still. It is a quiet sea, a small and secret ocean held within the bones that frame your face. In this gentle sea, balance is a slow song. It hums under everything you do. When you sit, when you rise, when you turn your head to watch a bird, this hidden music changes shape. You do not ask it to sing. It sings anyway. Steady and kind, keeping you upright in a swaying world. Deep in that ocean are chambers with round names you may have never heard. There are 3 looped tunnels, bending like glassy hoops that sit at right angles to one another, like open arms pointing to the sky, the ground, and the horizon. These loops are the semicircular canals. They are filled with a clear liquid that moves when you move. When you tip your head forward, the liquid lags behind for a moment, as if remembering the way you were. When you turn quickly, the liquid curls and slides along the walls. In each loop there is a tiny jelly-soft flap with hair-fine bristles. When the liquid brushes the bristles, they bend. When they bend, a whisper of electricity begins. That whisper travels along a thin pathway to your brain saying, we are turning, we are tilting, we are moving through space. It is not loud, but your brain hears it and answers by adjusting the body you live in. There are also 2 small bright fields called the otolith organs. Their names are utricle and saccule. They notice gravity. They sense the pull that anchors you to the earth. Inside them, tiny stones made of calcium rest like pale sand on jelly plains. When you lean to one side, the little stones slide a breath in that direction. Hair cells feel this slide and send another whisper. We are bending toward the left. When you rise from lying down, the stones flow back and the whisper becomes, we are standing up. Gravity touches everything, and these organs feel that touch with patience. Because of them, you know where down is, even when your eyes are closed and the room is dark. Your eyes and your balance work together like old friends walking a quiet road. When the world you see moves, your balance system checks if you move too. If a bus passes by and your eyes feel the rush, the loops in your ears ask politely, did we turn? If they say no, your brain knows the bus moved and you did not. If they say yes, your brain tells the muscles of your eyes to turn the gaze the other way. Just a little. Just enough to keep the world still on your retinas. This is the vestibulo-ocular reflex, and it is faster than a blink. It keeps your view steady when you nod, when you shake your head, when you run after a kite. It is like a hand on your shoulder saying, easy now, keep the picture clear. The brain is a careful listener. Signals from the loops and from the otoliths and from the eyes and from the soft stretch sense inside your muscles all meet there. The cerebellum, tucked at the back of your head like a small curled leaf, gathers these whispers and turns them into action. It decides how to hold your neck, how to place your feet, how to steady your spine. It is busy, but it never seems rushed. It makes balance look simple. It lets you pour tea without looking at your hand. It lets you reach for a book in the dark without falling. It lets you turn your face to the sun with your eyes closed and still stay standing as the breeze moves through your hair. When you were very small, this hidden sense learned the world the way a child learns a lullaby. Crawling taught your inner sea how the horizon changes from floor to floorboards to far windows. Standing taught your loops how the liquid should move when up is truly up. Falling taught the brain which signals matter most. Over time, the whispers became a language. Your steps grew sure. You learned to spin and to stop. You learned to jump and land. If you bent too fast, you felt the water in the loops push on the bristles too much, and you learned to slow. If you turned in circles, you felt the world slide for a moment after you stopped. That was the liquid, still moving, telling the hair cells a story that was already over. The brain learned to wait for the sea to settle. Sometimes, though, the sea and the eyes disagree. When you sit in a ship and the floor moves under you, the loops say, yes, we are travelling up and down. But your eyes, watching a steady cabin wall, say, no, we are still. The brain frowns at this tug of war. It could make your stomach tight and your mouth wet. Motion sickness is the feeling of mixed messages. The cure is often simple. Let the eyes see the horizon. Align the brain trusts. Or close them and let the inner sea lead. Either way, you're asking your body to pick one truth and rest there. You can feel relief rise like a tide when the senses agree again. There are quiet troubles that can touch this sense. Tiny crystals can drift where they should not, rolling into a loop and pressing on hair cells when you turn in bed. The room seems to flip and slide. This is a brief vertigo that lives in a small mistake. A piece of sand on a soft door. Because the body is kind, there are gentle ways to guide those crystals back. Simple head movements like turning a page in a book. The brain soon calms. The sea inside becomes smooth again. People who have felt this learn the value of stillness and the simple joy of a walk across a room that does not tilt. Balance is also a story of bones and muscles and the messages that thread between them. The sense of where your limbs are, proprioception, speaks quietly to the balance centers, telling them which way your knees face, how your ankles bend, whether your toes grip. When you stand on one foot, the ankle makes fast, tiny corrections. The calf whispers, I am tightening now relaxing. The hip hears and answers. The spine listens and lengthens. There is a choir in your body singing the song of standing. You do not hear it with your ears, but you feel the calm it makes. If you ever walked on a fallen log over a shallow stream, you have met this hidden choir. Your eyes choose a place to look. Not your feet, not the rushing water. Your arms lift a little without being asked, like wings of a quiet bird. Your inner loops taste the slow roll of your head and tell your eyes to hold steady on the far bank. You step, heel to toe, and the otoliths check the pull of the earth. Your skin sends a letter about the bark under your foot. Your brain collects all these notes, and you cross with a steady breath. On the far side you smile. The sea inside is calm. Athletes and dancers learn to speak to this sense on purpose. A skater spins and keeps her eye fixed on a single point as long as she can, then snaps her head around to find that point again. This trick, called spotting, helps the inner sea not slosh too wildly. A gymnast trains the ankles and the hips to carry whispers faster. A surfer lets the eyes trust the horizon while the feet read the shape of the wave. A violinist sways on a stage, and the vestibulo-ocular reflex keeps the music's sheet steady in the eyes even when the body moves with the song. Balance becomes not just safety, but grace. Not just standing, but art. As people grow older, the hair cells can grow fewer. The nerves can carry whispers a bit slower. The muscles can tire sooner. The world may feel a little less still, a little more like a boat on a lake with a small wind. This is not a failing. It is simply another season of the sea inside. Gentle practice helps, standing on one foot near a wall, turning the head side to side while reading a line of text, walking heel to toe along a hallway. The brain, like a careful gardener, responds to what you plant. It grows new paths. It learns again, slowly and kindly, how to keep you upright in a changing body. There are places where gravity loosens its grip. Astronauts carry their balance systems into space, and at first the inner sea is confused. The little stones do not settle. They float against the jelly plains with no clear down. The loops feel motion, but cannot match it to the Earth's steady pull. Some astronauts feel sick until their brains learn a new rule, a new quiet map. Here the floor does not pull. Here walls and ceilings are the same. The brain is a patient student. When they return to Earth, some feel heavy with the joy of down again. The otoliths sing, "We remember." The sea settles into old rhythms. There is comfort in wait. Sometimes children spin because spinning is a small wild joy. They turn and fall laughing into the grass. The eyes see the sky roll and the brain allows it. The inner sea swirls then slows. The world settles. This is play, but it is also practice. The balance system is learning its limits, learning its own language by making big sounds and then quiet ones. With each day, the child's steps become more certain. With each year, the inner sea becomes a better friend. You can listen to your own hidden ocean. Close your eyes while standing and feel how your body keeps you still. It is not truly still. It makes many tiny moves. Your ankles speak. Your knees adjust, your hips drift and return, your eyes are closed. But another sense is watching over you. You can turn your head slowly to one side and feel the faint pull of liquid in the loops, like a tide touching shore. If you open your eyes while turning, you will notice how the view remains calm, how the world does not smear. That is the reflex you carry, the simple magic of keeping the picture still while you move through it. There is a kindness in knowing that balance is not a single thing. It is not just the ear or the eye or the foot. It is a friendship among many senses, a circle of helpers who pass gentle notes to each other. If one grows quiet for a time, the others speak up. This is why if you stand in the dark, you keep your feet wider. This is why if the ground is soft, you slow down and let your eyes lead. This is why if your eyes are full of tears, you stop and let your inner sea guide you home. Your body is careful with you. It wants you safe. It works without praise. The world will always move. Buses will rumble. Floors will sway. Waves will rise and fall. But the sense that lives in the secret chambers of your inner ear, the sense that listens to gravity with its small bright stones and tastes motion with water and hair, will keep you. When it needs help, your eyes and your muscles will stand close, a family gathered at a doorway, and when you rest at last, head on a soft pillow, the sea inside will still. The hair cells will lie quiet. The little stones will settle against the jelly plains. Gravity will hold you like a parent holds a child, steady and sure. Your hidden sense will hum a last line of its song, and you will drift towards sleep, knowing that even in the darkness you are kept. If you wake in the night and the room is a field of shadow, the same calm friends are there. You turn gently to the edge of the bed, place your feet on the floor and rise. The otoliths say, "Down is here." The loops say, "We are tipping forward." Your eyes say, "The window is there," a softer grey. Your muscles say we are ready. You step and the world does not tilt, because a quiet ocean inside you is listening, answering and guiding each small move with a care so constant it feels like peace. The sea of balance is never alone. It does not live in silence, cut off from the rest of the body. It is a partner, a hidden hand that reaches into every step, every tilt, every gentle sway of the spine. To understand it more deeply is to follow its threads outward, into the eyes, the skin, the muscles, and even into the slow heartbeat that steadies when we find our center. Balance is not only in the ear, it is in the rhythm of the body as a whole, weaving a net of quiet harmony that holds us upright in a restless world. Consider the way balance speaks with vision. The eyes do not only look, they anchor. When you walk in a forest, your gaze lifts to the trees, the vertical lines of trunks, the horizon of the path, the shifting pattern of leaves in the wind. All of these tell your brain where straightness is. When you cross a river on uneven stones, your balance does not rely on the ear alone. Your eyes scan ahead, fixing on the far bank. This anchor helps the brain tell the difference between the tilt of the world and the tilt of your body. If the eyes are closed, the sea inside must work harder, whispering louder, asking the muscles to listen more closely. But when both senses are joined, the message is softer, easier, like two hands lifting a weight instead of one. Now drift into the sense of touch. The soles of your feet are alive with nerves, and they too speak to balance. When you stand on sand, the grains shift, and the skin beneath your toes sends a steady stream of signals upward. The ground is soft, it moves beneath you. Adjust here, lean there. When you stand on stone, the firmness speaks differently. The floor is steady, your body may rest. Even the tiny hairs on your arms play a role when wind brushes past you, telling your brain the direction of the air. All of these touches are woven into balance, subtle as silk threads in a wide fabric. Without them, the sea in your head would feel lost, floating without anchor. With them, it finds place, it finds harmony. Muscles carry another layer of this story. Deep inside each limb, there are sensors in tendons and fibers that notice stretch and pressure. They are not part of sight or hearing. They are a separate sense, proprioception, the inner map of where your body lives in space. It is the reason you can close your eyes and still touch your nose. It is the reason you can walk across a darkened room without stumbling. These sensors whisper to the cerebellum, telling it the leg is bent, the arm is rising, the spine is straight. The cerebellum listens to both the sea of balance and this map of movement, weaving them into a single story. Without that weaving, standing would be trembling. With it, standing becomes ease, a quiet trust that your body knows itself, even in shadow. There is a beauty in how balance is trained, how it sharpens through life. Think of a child learning to walk. At first, each step is wide and wobbly, a dance with gravity that seems full of risk. The inner sea splashes with each motion, and the brain struggles to translate the noise. But slowly, through as practice, the sea grows calm. The cerebellum learns the patterns. This is falling forward. This is steadying. This is a safe sway. Soon the child runs, spins, jumps without thinking of the invisible orchestra inside. Balance has become fluent, a language spoken without effort. Years later, that same child may stand on ice skates, balancing on thin blades, and still the sea inside supports, adjusts, corrects with a grace so quiet it feels like instinct. Animals too live by this sense. A cat walking on a fence rail trusts its tail to act as a rudder, swinging side to side as balance shifts. The inner ear sends signals, the muscles in the tail reply, and the body remains steady. Birds in flight use their vestibular system to guide their wings to tilt into the wind to land on a thin branch. Fish, though surrounded by water, still rely on balance organs, cousins of ours, to know which way is up when sunlight filters through. Across life, balance is a universal whisper, a hidden sense that sings in many bodies, always keeping creatures aligned with the pull of Earth. The sea inside is sensitive not only to movement but also to silence. In the stillness of meditation, when you close your eyes and sit, you may feel a faint sway of the body. It is as if your balance system is always making small corrections, like a boat rocking gently at anchor. You may not fall, but you are never perfectly still. The muscles shift like leaves touched by a breeze. These corrections are so small, so quiet, that you would miss them unless you listen deeply. But they are there, an endless, tender dance of the inner ear, the muscles, the eyes, and the brain. Even in stillness, balance is alive, a steady river flowing beneath awareness. Sometimes balance is tested by extremes. Imagine standing at the edge of a tall cliff, looking down at the sea below. The eyes see the drop, the vast space, and the brain feels a tremor of fear. This is not only emotion, it is the balance system speaking. The loops and otoliths tell you that your body is steady, but your eyes whisper that a step forward is danger. The body wavers slightly, swaying as if to remind you of gravity's pull. It is a protective signal, a way the hidden sense urges caution. It says, stay close to safety, stay aligned with Earth. It is not panic, it is the body's quiet wisdom guiding you back from the edge. At other times, balance is joy. Think of dancing when music moves the body in spirals and steps. The sea inside swirls, but the brain translates each motion into grace. The muscles adjust, the eyes hold the horizon, and the dance becomes flight. In these moments, balance is not only safety but beauty. It is the invisible partner that lets a dancer leap and land, spin and rise, never losing the song of motion. Balance here is poetry, a gentle thread that binds rhythm to body, body to earth. The sense of balance also carries memory. A smell or a sound may remind you of childhood, but so can a movement. When you step onto a rocking boat, your body remembers other voyages. The muscles recall the slow sway. The inner ear recalls the rhythm of waves. And without thought, you widen your stance, bend your knees. This is memory not of words, but of balance, stored in the body itself. It is a wisdom older than language, a quiet knowing of how to live within gravity and motion. There are cultures that train balance into artful practices. In Japan, walking meditation teaches each step with care, heel to toe, breath aligned with motion. In India, yoga poses demand stillness in unlikely shapes, training the body to find calm even when twisted. In Africa, dancers balance bowls on their heads while moving with rhythm, showing the harmony of motion and stillness joined. In each practice, the hidden sense is honoured, exercised and brought to light, not as something ordinary, but as a gift. The sea inside is part of culture, part of tradition, woven into the way people move through life. Even illness cannot silence this sense completely. When the inner ear is damaged, the brain leans more on the eyes and the muscles. When vision is blurred, the inner ear and proprioception rise to lead. There is resilience in this system, a kind of teamwork that refuses to let the body fall. Rehabilitation after injury often begins with simple balance tasks: standing on one foot, walking a line, turning the head while stepping forward. Each exercise is a way of telling the sea inside to speak louder, clearer, to teach the brain new maps. Slowly, balance is restored. Slowly, the whispers grow strong again. We can marvel at how balance changes across time. A baby carried in arms relies on a parent's balance as their own is unsteady. A child learning to ride a bicycle trusts in practice until the sea inside steadies the wheels. An adult climbing mountains finds the hidden sense guiding each foothold on a narrow path. And an elder, walking slowly with a cane, still holds within the same ancient system, the same inner sea, though gentler now, though slower. Balance does not vanish with age. It shifts, it changes, but it remains a companion to the last step. If you pause now and simply stand, you can feel the poetry of this sense. The weight of your body spreads through your feet. Your muscles hum softly, keeping you upright. Your eyes glance across the room, steadying the horizon. Deep in your ears, the liquid rests. The tiny stones lie against their beds, ready to shift if you do. This whole orchestra is working together in silence, a song of safety you did not need to command. It is happening now, in this moment, a gift of the body to itself. Balance is not loud, but it is faithful. It does not demand attention, but it is always awake. And knowing this, you may feel a small calm, a gratitude for the hidden sense that never leaves you, that holds you gently in the arms of earth. Balance is more than a tool for standing and walking. It is a language of trust between the body and the earth. As you move through life, it becomes part of every small act, a breath taken while leaning against a tree, a hand reaching for a glass of water, a step taken in the quiet hours before dawn. The hidden sea in your head, the little stones resting in their beds, the hair cells bending with the flow of liquid, all serve to keep you connected. This is not only science, it is a form of belonging, a way of knowing that you are never separate from the ground beneath you, from the steady pull of gravity that has held you since birth. Imagine the simple act of closing your eyes and turning in place. At first, the world feels steady. Then, as the liquid in the semicircular canals begins to swirl, you feel the drift, the slow sliding of orientation. You stop, but the sea inside keeps moving, telling your brain a story that is already over. The result is a gentle illusion. The room still spins, though you stand still. This is not failure. It is memory. It is the body holding onto movement a little longer, reluctant to let go of the rhythm it has just tasted. In this, balance becomes almost poetic, a reminder that the body keeps echoes of motion the way the mind keeps echoes of dreams. Balance also ties us to the world of rest. When you lie down at night, the otoliths tell your brain that the body is horizontal. The muscles soften, the reflexes that once kept your eyes steady fall quiet. The sea inside grows calm. In deep sleep, the body no longer adjusts for balance in the same way, because stillness is the only task. Yet even then, this sense never disappears. If the bed shifts, if the body is nudged, the inner ear stirs and sends its whispers. In this way, balance is also a guardian of sleep, keeping you safe even in the dark hours when you are least aware. The hidden sense of balance is also linked with emotions in ways we rarely notice. When you feel anxious, your body sways more. The small corrections become larger, less certain. The brain, busy with worry, listens less carefully to the whispers of the inner ear. When you are calm, the sway grows smaller, the corrections gentle and precise. It is as though the sea inside reflects the state of the mind, stormy when troubled, smooth when at peace. Scientists have measured this, yet you can feel it yourself. Take a deep breath and you stand steadier. Exhale slowly and your body finds its center. Balance listens to breath as much as to gravity. Across cultures, balance has been honored not only as science but as symbol. In ancient philosophy, balance was harmony, the middle way, the joining of opposites. In art, a balanced figure is a figure at peace. In stories, balance is wisdom, the ability to walk between extremes without falling. Though the vestibular system was not named in those times, people felt its truth. They sensed that to stand upright in the world was more than a physical act. It was a reflection of inner order, a way of carrying life with steadiness and grace. Consider how this hidden sense shapes our earliest games. Children spin until they tumble into grass, laughing at the world's blur. They walk on curbs, arms outstretched, practicing tightrope tricks. They hop from stone to stone across shallow streams. All of these are balance lessons wrapped in play. They are not only games, they are rehearsals for living in a body guided by gravity. The joy of these moments is also a trust in the body's ability to recover, to right itself, to try again. Balance, through play, becomes confidence. It whispers, "You may fall, but you can stand again. You may sway, but you will find your center." There are people who have trained balance into art so refined it seems like magic. Acrobats stand on hands with feet in the air, bodies still and strong. Dancers leap and land as though weightless, their centers never lost. Divers twist in air and enter water with a line so straight it seems drawn. In each of these acts, the hidden sense is alive, working faster than thought, guiding muscles and eyes and breath in unity. To watch such movement is to witness the beauty of balance fully revealed, not hidden at all, but shining as the foundation of grace. Yet balance is not only for performers, it is for everyone. The quiet walk to the store, the rise from a chair, the step onto a bus, all of these depend on the whispers of the vestibular system. Without them, the world tilts, spins, becomes uncertain. With them, the world is stable, steady, kind. It is a reminder that what seems ordinary is in truth extraordinary. Every safe step is a gift of countless tiny signals, countless gentle corrections. Each is a success, a triumph too small to notice but too important to ignore. There are moments when balance falters, when illness or injury makes the inner sea wild. The world spins, the ground tilts, the stomach churns. These moments are frightening, but they also reveal how deeply we depend on this hidden sense. And they reveal resilience too. With time, with practice, with the brain's ability to learn, balance returns. The sea calms, the body steadies, and life resumes its rhythm. In these recoveries we see the kindness of the body, its determination to heal, its will to walk again in peace. Balance is not only physical but also spiritual in its lessons. To live a balanced life is to move between work and rest, between silence and sound, between solitude and company. The word balance echoes the body's secret sense, teaching that steadiness is not stillness but gentle motion, constant adjustment. Just as the inner ear makes endless tiny corrections, so too does the spirit. Life wavers, but balance is the art of swaying without falling, of drifting without losing direction. In this way, the vestibular system becomes a metaphor, a hidden science that speaks also as poetry. Think of the times you have stood in wind, leaning slightly but not falling. Think of the times you have stood on a rocking train, swaying with its rhythm but staying upright. Think of the times you have walked in darkness, trusting your body to guide you. All of these are gifts of balance, gifts you may not have noticed until now. They are proof that this hidden sense is always with you, always proacting, always adjusting, always giving. When you next walk outside, pause for a moment. Close your eyes. Feel how your body sways just a little, side to side, front to back. That sway is not weakness. It is life. It is your balance system alive, active, adjusting. It is the sea inside moving with grace. It is the muscles answering, the eyes preparing, the brain listening. All of it together makes standing possible. All of it together makes living in a body not only possible, but steady, safe, and beautiful. And when your day ends, when you lie down again, remember this hidden sense. The tiny stones will rest. The liquid will be still. The hair cells will bend no more for a time. Gravity will hold you as always. And the sea inside will hum its silent song, a lullaby written in balance, a song you have carried from your first steps to your last. It is a song that never leaves, a song that keeps you steady in a world that always moves. To listen to it, even in imagination, is to feel peace. To know it, even in science, is to feel wonder. To honour it, even in silence, is to remember that you are always held, always guided, always in balance. Heat is a quiet river that flows through the skin, through the blood, through the spaces where nerve endings wait like tiny watchmen. You do not often notice this river, yet it shapes every moment. To sit by a fire and feel its glow on your face is to listen to this hidden sense. To step barefoot onto cool grass at dawn is to awaken its song. The body carries a secret awareness of temperature, an inner knowing called thermoception. It does not shout. It does not ask for praise. It works in silence, guiding your movements, keeping you safe, reminding you gently of the warmth of life and the coldness of the world. The story begins with receptors buried just beneath the surface of your skin. Some lie in your hands, some in your lips, some scattered across the wide canvas of your body. They are tiny guardians called thermoreceptors, each tuned to a different kind of touch. One type wakes when warmth arrives, when molecules move faster, when heat seeps into the skin. Another type stirs when cold brushes past, when energy slows, when the air whispers of frost. These nerves do not think, yet they know. They bend with temperature's change, and in that bending they release signals, streams of tiny sparks that race along nerves toward the spinal cord. From there, the sparks climb higher, carried upward, till they reach the brain. And then, without effort, you feel, this is warm, this is cool, this is safe, this is too much. Heat and cold are not measured in numbers by the body. There is no thermometer behind your eyes. Instead, temperature is felt in contrasts. A cup of tea is warm because the skin was cooler before. A stone floor is cold because your feet carried heat until they touched it. Thermoreceptors live for these changes, for the shifting tides. They are less interested in what is steady. A hand resting on wood soon forgets its temperature as the receptors grow quiet, adapted. But touch snow after sitting by a fire, and they wake like startled birds, sending urgent whispers to the brain. Temperature is a sense of difference, of story, of what was and what now is. This sense is more than comfort. It is protection. The nerves that notice heat do so, not only to enjoy the sun but to warn against flame. If the skin begins to burn, a louder pathway lights up, pain fibers calling out sharply. They cry, move away, pull back, save yourself. These pathways are faster, urgent, designed to prevent harm. In the same way, extreme cold brings its own alarm, a reminder that freezing can numb, that frost can damage. Thermoception, then, is not only a gentle lullaby of warmth and chill, it is also a guardian of life, a sense that shields the body by knowing what is safe and what is danger. Yet between danger and safety lies poetry. Think of stepping into a bath, the water warm around your body. At first, the receptors sing loudly, sending bursts of sensation. Soon, though, they soften. The warmth becomes background, a constant hum. The body has adapted, letting you rest in the water's embrace without distraction. Or think of walking into morning air, the cold biting for a moment, then easing as the skin accepts it. These are not only changes in physics, they are gentle stories the body tells itself, adjusting to the world, making peace with temperature as it flows. Inside the body, thermoception is even more hidden, yet even more vital. Deep sensors sit in the brain itself, in places like the hypothalamus. These do not notice the coolness of grass or the warmth of a mug. They notice the heat of the blood, the core of the body. If it rises too high, if fever comes, the hypothalamus sends commands outward. Sweat now, release water to cool. If it falls too low, if cold sinks into the bones, the signal changes. Shiver now, tighten muscles to create heat. These are ancient instructions written before thought, older than memory. They keep the body alive, balanced, steady in a world where temperature shifts endlessly. Animals live by this sense as well. A lizard basks on a rock, shifting into sun or shade as its thermoceptors demand. A dog pants in summer, tongue stretched, heat leaving with each breath. A bird fluffs its feathers in winter, trapping warm air close. All of them follow the same whispers of temperature. They are guided not by thought but by sensing, by the body's quiet map of warmth and chill. Humans too once lived closely with these signals, gathering near fire when the night grew cold, seeking caves in summer's heat. Even now, with heaters and air conditioners, the body listens still, never forgetting the language of warmth and cold. There is beauty in the way temperature ties to emotion. Warmth is comfort, safety, home. Cold is clarity, wakefulness, the sharp edge of awareness. To hold another hand and feel it warm against your own is to feel connection, not only in touch but in temperature. To breathe in winter air and feel your lungs fill with cold is to feel alive in a different way. Thermoception weaves itself into memory, the heat of sunlight on a childhood afternoon, the chill of rain dripping down your neck, the comfort of a blanket on a stormy night. These memories are stored not only in mind but in body, carried by receptors that once whispered their signals long ago. Thermoception can also be playful. Think of ice cubes melting on skin, the shiver of contrast. Think of hot cocoa after snow, the way warmth spreads from lips to chest, filling the body with quiet joy. Think of swimming in a lake, the initial shock of cold replaced by a steady rhythm, muscles adjusting, nerves calming. The body delights in these changes, in the dance between warm and cool. Each shift awakens the receptors anew, reminding you that you are alive, that you are part of a world where temperature is always moving, always flowing. Even the smallest creatures rely on this hidden sense. Insects seek warmth to fly, reptiles lie in sun to move, mammals curl together to share heat. Temperature is a shared language of life, written into the fibres of every being. Without it, the world would be flat, missing the contrast that makes experience rich. With it, the world becomes textured. The coolness of stone, the heat of breath, the shifting tide of air on skin. It's not only science, it is sensation. It is the poetry of existing in a body that feels. The hidden sense of thermoception is not loud. It does not demand. It simply flows, like heat itself, like the coolness of shadow. It is always there, guiding, protecting, enriching. And in quiet moments, when you sit by a fire or step into dawn, you may notice it more clearly, a soft whisper beneath the louder senses. It is the body's way of telling you, you are here, you are alive, you're held between warmth and cold, always balanced, always aware. Thermoception is a bridge between the outer world and the inner body. It connects the invisible lines between fire and skin, between frost and breath. But it also weaves into deeper rhythms, into hunger, emotion, touch, even time itself. To feel warmth or cold is not just to know temperature. It is to sense a shift in the very landscape of your life, to trace an unseen thread that runs through your nerves and into your soul. Let's drift deeper now and explore how this hidden sense speaks not just to the body, but to the spirit, to memory, and to the living world around us. The warmth of a mother's chest, the chill of metal before dawn, these are not just sensory notes, they are moments. Thermoception turns temperature into feeling, into meaning. When you sit in sunlight after illness, and your skin blooms with soft heat, there is a message being sent. You are healing. When rain touches your arms and cools your skin, there is a reminder. The world is real, and you are part of it. Heat and cold are not strangers. They are old storytellers, and your body is their attentive listener. Beneath the surface of your skin, there are two great rivers of thermoreceptors. The first is for warmth, a group of C fibers that conduct slowly, unmyelinated, like soft-spoken guests arriving late to a quiet room. These fibers do not rush. They move gently, carrying warmth not like fire, but like a candle's glow. When they're active, the message is clear. You are safe, you're at ease, you are wrapped in comfort. The second river is for cold. A set of faster delta fibers, quick and light. They speak like wind across water. When they fire, you know, be alert, the air is sharp, the world is awake. Together, these rivers do not fight. They balance. They create a living map of thermal contrast. A cool breeze on the back of your neck, a mug of tea against your lips, the warmth of a scarf pulled close. These are tiny chapters in a book your body reads constantly. Even when you are not aware, your skin is listening, responding, adjusting. The brain gathers this information quietly, behind thought, behind language. It does not need permission to feel. Inside the brain, thermoception lives in a place called the insula. This region is deep, hidden beneath the outer layers, folded like a shell. The insula gathers signals from the skin and the organs. It makes them into feelings, not thoughts, but sensations that hum beneath awareness. It is here that warmth becomes comfort, cold becomes solitude, heat becomes warning. The insula is also tied to emotion. This is why you may feel lonely when cold or safe when warm. It is why a hot drink can soothe anxiety, or a cold splash can sharpen your focus. Temperature is never just temperature. It is feeling, transformed by the insula into a kind of quiet truth. Thermoception also shapes touch. A warm hand resting on your back carries more than weight. It carries a story. It says, "I am here. You're not alone. This is not fiction." The skin responds differently to warm contact than to cool. Warmth increases oxytocin, the chemical of trust. A hug in the cold does more than close distance. It creates connection. It lights up the insula, the emotional core. Cold touch too has its purpose. It awakens. It calls the body into action. It prepares the muscles, sharpens the breath. The two kinds of thermal sensation dance in the body's awareness. One calming, one awakening, both essential. Within the body, heat is always being made. It comes from muscles moving, from organs working, from cells breathing. This internal warmth is steady, quiet, and carefully kept. The body guards its core temperature with fierce grace. Even a change of 1 or 2 degrees can be dangerous. That is why when you are cold, the blood retreats from your skin to protect the heart and brain. Fingers and toes pale, shivers begin. Muscles tremble not from fear but from effort. The effort to warm the blood, to light tiny internal fires. When you are too hot, the opposite occurs. Blood rises to the skin, sweat forms. Evaporation steals heat away, leaving coolness behind. This balance is the work of a system so elegant, so ancient, it happens without thought, over and over, every moment of your life. There are special moments when the hidden sense becomes more vivid. Stepping into a sauna, the rush of heat awakens every receptor. The skin glows, the blood pulses. In this space, the body feels both challenged and safe. Then comes the plunge into cold, water shocking, clear, a jolt of contrast. In cultures around the world, this dance of temperature is part of healing, part of ritual. In Finland, in Russia, in Japan, people have long moved between hot and cold to awaken the body's wisdom. They say it strengthens the heart, clears the mind, steadies the soul. And perhaps it does. The receptors wake, the blood flows, the spirit stirs. Thermoception is also found in dreams. When you sleep, the body's control over temperature shifts. You're more vulnerable to cold, more sensitive to heat. A heavy blanket brings comfort. A chill in the room may stir a dream of snow. Scientists have found that thermal signals still reach the brain in sleep, though more softly, like distant music. Your sleeping mind responds, adjusting your position, pulling covers close. Even in rest, the hidden sense watches over you, guarding your body like a gentle sentry. In moments of illness, thermoception can become louder. A fever burns not only the skin, but the inner map of sensation. Everything feels wrong. Too hot, too cold, too heavy. The body shivers even when warm, sweats even when cold. The hypothalamus, confused, resets its thermostat. In these moments we feel how delicate the system is, how finely tuned. Yet even in sickness the sense works toward balance, toward healing. When the fever breaks and coolness returns, there is relief not only in comfort but in the return of order, the return of knowing where warmth belongs. Some people lose this sense. Certain injuries, certain conditions can silence the thermoreceptors. Without them, the skin feels numb. The body becomes more vulnerable to harm. Burns may go unnoticed. Frostbite may come silently. This is a rare and quiet danger. not because the body fails, but because its whisper has gone unheard. Scientists work to understand these losses, to restore the voice of the hidden sense. In some cases, other senses rise to help: vision, touch, intuition. The body is generous, always trying to adapt. But when thermoception is intact, it gives not only protection but pleasure. The sun on your skin after winter, the breeze across your face in summer, the shared warmth of a crowded room. These are not luxuries. They are part of being human. They are a part of being alive. The sense of temperature brings you into the present. It reminds you, this moment is warm, this air is cool, this breath is real. The dance between warm and cool is one of contrast. You cannot feel one without knowing the other. This is why warmth feels sweeter after cold, why cold feels sharper after heat. The body remembers, compares, adjusts. The skin becomes a living storybook of sensation, each page a different chapter on frost, fire, fog, flame. Each sensation writes its name softly into your memory. Even time is shaped by temperature. A long, cold night stretches like a ribbon. A warm afternoon passes in peace. The body feels these rhythms not by clock but by skin, by the secret sense that tracks warmth like a thread. The world itself moves in thermal waves, day and night, summer and winter, breath and stillness. You are part of that wave, rising and falling with every heartbeat, every shiver, every sigh. In the final folds of this quiet journey, let us pause and listen more deeply to what thermoception truly means. It is easy to think of heat and cold as merely physical, as numbers on a thermometer, as tools of science and climate. But in the body, warmth and coolness live as feelings, as memories, as stories that unfold over time. They shape your connection to the world in invisible ways. The way your shoulders relax when you feel the sun. The way your hands search for warmth in a coat pocket on a winter morning. These are not just reactions. They are part of how you know you belong in a body, on this earth, surrounded by the invisible breath of temperature that never stops moving. Thermoception is an ongoing act of care. It listens to the world, listens to the skin, listens to the blood. It does not need thanks, yet it deserves wonder. Every minute it works to keep you balanced, not too hot, not too cold, always close to the delicate middle where life is strongest. This narrow place, just a few degrees wide, is your home. Your enzymes, your cells, your thoughts, all depend on it. Too much heat, and proteins unravel like threads in fire. Too much cold, and the machinery of life slows to stillness. So this quiet sense walks a line with perfect grace, like a lantern held steady through shifting winds. Your skin is its first messenger. Think of how it guards you, not only against touch and pressure, but against the extremes of climate. In summer, sweat beads like pearls, tiny drops of salt water that cool you as they vanish. In winter, your skin draws close, tightens its pores, traps heat in the shelter of your flesh. These are not choices you make. These are songs your body sings beneath the surface, keeping your temperature steady while you move through a world that never is. And then, deeper still, your blood joins the chorus. It shifts and flows, changing direction and volume depending on what your core requires. When heat rises, blood moves outward, to the skin, where it can release warmth. When cold bites, blood retreats, curling closer to the heart and lungs. It is a gentle, constant migration, like flocks of birds flying season to season. You do not feel this directly, you feel only the result. The cooling of your brow, the chill in your hands, the flush in your cheeks. But these feelings are messages, wrapped in biology, softened by the wisdom of evolution. The brain too is a conductor in this symphony. The hypothalamus listens not with ears but with molecules. It senses the temperature of your blood as it flows nearby. When it detects change, it acts, not with panic but with precision. It sends signals to glands, to muscles, to vessels. It tells sweat to form, tells hair to rise, tells skin to tighten. And all this happens in stillness without effort, like a whisper passed between old friends. The balance is fragile, but it is rarely lost, because the body has been practicing this song for a very long time. Even your breath is part of this dance. You lose heat with every exhale, a tiny puff of warmth that rises like smoke in cold air. In warm places, your breath slows, conserving energy. In cold places, your breath speeds, stoking internal fires. This rhythm is not accidental. It is part of the body's deep language, where every motion serves a purpose. To feel your own breath warm against a palm is to feel thermoception in its gentlest form. Life leaving the body, but never wasted. Touch, too, is shaped by temperature. A warm embrace is not just pressure, it is trust, it is memory, it is the body's way of saying you are safe here. Cold touch, sudden and sharp, can wake you, remind you that not all things are soft. Both sensations are needed. Both are teachers. A child learns comfort through warmth, caution through cold, and the memory of each touch lives long after the moment ends. This is why people remember the warmth of a loved one's hand, the cold of rain on a goodbye morning, the firelight on a long-lost evening. Thermoception becomes history. It writes its presence into time. As we grow older, this hidden sense may change. The skin grows thinner. The vessels respond more slowly. The thresholds for warmth and cold drift slightly, like buoys on a restless sea. An older body may feel cold more often, or fail to sense the sharpness of heat. This is not failure but transformation. It is the body adjusting its lens, viewing the world through new patterns. Still, the sense remains. Still, warmth can soothe. Still, coolness can refresh. The language becomes quieter, but it is never lost. There are moments in life when warmth becomes healing. A hot cloth placed on a sore muscle, a warm bath after grief, a blanket around tired shoulders. These are not only comforts, they are forms of medicine, delivered through sensation. The body responds with softness, with calm, with rest. The nervous system slows, the breath deepens, the heart beats more gently. In these moments, thermoception is not a sense alone. It is a therapy, a gift, a way of reminding the body that it is cared for and safe. Cold has its medicine too, the coolness of a compress easing inflammation, the sharp air that clears the mind during a walk in the snow, the plunge into cold water that shocks the nerves and resets attention. Cold is not the enemy of comfort, it is a teacher of presence. It brings alertness, sharpens awareness, and reminds the body to respond, to wake up, to protect. Both warmth and cold are guides, leading the body to healing in different ways. There is a small wonder in knowing that your sense of temperature is shared across all life. Plants open and close based on warmth. Seeds germinate when soil is right. animals migrate, hibernate, awaken. All are guided by the silent hand of heat and cold. You too are part of this story. You're not separate from nature's thermostat. You're tuned to the same rhythms. The same sun that warms a field warms your face. The same frost that touches the trees touches your hands. In this way, thermoception is connection, not only to your own body, but to the world that holds you. As we close this quiet journey, let yourself remember how much you feel and how much you know without knowing. The next time you walk outside, feel the breeze against your cheek. Is it warm? Is it cool? What does your body say in reply? What memories rise from that touch? You are listening to a story told in molecules, in energy, in the dance of tiny currents. It is an old story, as old as breath, as old as blood. And when you lie down to rest, a blanket over your skin, know that your body notices. It registers the softness, the warmth, the way heat gathers slowly like a kind companion. You do not have to think, you only have to feel. The hidden sense will do the rest. It will guard you in the night. It will whisper to the brain that all is well, that you are safe, that the temperature is just right for sleep. In this way, thermoception is more than sensation. It is presence. It is safety. It is the unspoken comfort of being alive in a world that touches you softly through temperature. And knowing this or feeling this may bring peace, a small stillness, a quiet joy, the warmth of your breath, the coolness of air on skin, the way your body keeps you in balance, not just through motion, but through the careful, loving measure of heat and cold. All of this is the hidden sense. All of this is you. Close your eyes just for a moment and picture yourself walking through a dark room. You do not need to see your limbs to know where they are. Your hand moves gently to the doorframe without hesitation. Your foot rises to climb a step without looking. There is no sound, no guide, yet you do not feel lost. This is because you are held by a sense older than vision, quieter than hearing. It is the sense of self in space, proprioception. A silent song sung by your muscles and joints, telling your brain where your body lives. This hidden sense is not taught. It is built, grown like roots beneath a tree, winding themselves into every movement you make. From the moment you first learn to crawl, to stand, to reach for a toy, proprioception has been there, guiding you from the inside out. While the world around you changed shape and colour, your body quietly built a map of itself. This map does not exist in your eyes or your ears. It lives in your joints, your tendons, your skin. It is a full body knowing, a gentle hum of spatial awareness drawn from within. Deep within your muscles are ice, and wrapped around those fibers are sensors called muscle spindles. They stretch and contract with your movement. They do not wait for instruction. They act, they report, they whisper. When you lift your arm, these spindles tell your brain how far and how fast. When you bend your knee, they note the angle and send a signal upward. Alongside them are Golgi tendon organs, nestled in the connections between muscle and bone. They measure force, strain, tension. Together, these two silent guardians keep your brain constantly updated on what your body is doing, without you needing to ask. All of these messages travel through nerves, like threads connecting your limbs to your spine. They rise into the cerebellum and the somatosensory cortex, where the brain listens and decides. The brain does not just hear arm is bent or foot is flat, it hears poetry. You are reaching for the light switch with your left hand. You are standing on your toes to peer into a cupboard. It gathers these quiet signals and weaves them into motion, into grace, into the delicate flow of life. This is how a ballerina can leap and land without watching her feet. This is how you can scratch your head in the dark. This is how a child learns to skip, to climb, to twirl with eyes closed. Proprioception is what allows the body to dance even when the eyes are full of tears or the world around is lost in fog. It is the reason you can walk without staring at your legs, why you can type without watching your fingers. It is a ghost sense, a soft inner compass, never needing light to find direction. Proprioception is also deeply connected to balance. When you sway gently while standing, the inner ear reports on your head's movement, but your ankles and knees speak just as clearly. They say, "We are tipping left, just a little." They say, "The ground is uneven, prepare." When you walk along a narrow path, it is proprioception that keeps your steps centered, not vision alone. It adjusts each motion in real time, coordinating with your muscles to prevent falls. It is the chorus that responds to gravity with a song of control. There is a profound comfort in knowing where your body is. This comfort does not come from sight, but from the quiet reassurance that your hand is still part of you, even when it is behind your back. This is how you can wrap a scarf without looking, how you can put a key into a lock on the first try. The world becomes predictable when your limbs are known to you. Proprioception is that knowing, the calm awareness that you are whole, that you are here, that your body moves as one. In moments of stillness, this sense becomes even more clear. Sit in a quiet room and close your eyes. Shift your shoulders just slightly, and you will feel them move. Tilt your head, and you will know where it goes. Cross your ankles, fold your hands. Every motion is known without sight. Your brain receives the messages and paints a picture of your body in space. This is not imagination. It is internal vision felt through nerve and fibre, through stretch and strain. It is real. It is your body's self-portrait, drawn every second, never ceasing. Proprioception is also what allows you to apply just the right amount of pressure. When you hold an egg, your hand knows not to squeeze. When you lift a sleeping child, your arms adjust without conscious thought. The sensors in your muscles report how heavy, how soft, how still. Without this sense, every grip would be guesswork, every touch too light or too strong. This is the reason your fingers can tie a shoelace, thread a needle, play an instrument. Precision begins not in the eye, but in the inner sense of movement. This quiet system is also deeply tied to rhythm. When you walk, there is a beat, left, right, and your body responds with beautiful symmetry. When you run, it finds cadence. When you climb stairs, your limbs remember each step. You do not need to plan every motion. Your body already knows the song. Even in speech, proprioception is present. Your tongue and lips shape words by feel, by knowing where they are in the mouth. This sense lives not just in limbs, but in the smallest gestures, in the tilt of a head, the flick of a wrist, the rise and fall of a breath. Children learn proprioception by movement. Play is its teacher. Climbing trees, rolling down hills, spinning in circles, these are not just games. They're experiments in knowing the body. Every tumble teaches where elbows are, how knees bend, how balance shifts. As the brain grows, it becomes better at reading the signals. Toddlers fall often, not from clumsiness but from learning. Their brains are still tuning the instrument, still learning how to conduct the orchestra of limbs. Athletes refine this sense to an art. A gymnast flipping through the air knows without looking where she is in space. A basketball player can turn mid-air and shoot while upside down. A figure skater spins and feels each part of her body adjust for balance. These are not magic tricks. They are the flowering of a well-trained inner map. Years of repetition, of listening, of practicing. This is how proprioception becomes not just guidance, but grace. Yet it is not only for athletes. Every person relies on it every day, sitting down in a chair, climbing stairs, brushing teeth, hugging a friend. All of these require proprioception. Without it, the world becomes slippery, uncertain. Movements become strange, disconnected. Even a simple walk through a room would require full concentration. But with it, life flows. Movements connect. The body feels like home. There is a softness in this sense that few notice. It never asks for attention. It is not as bright as sight or as sharp as sound. It is the sense of quiet confidence, the reason you do not have to question whether your leg is moving when you walk. You know, not because you see it, but because you feel it from within. It is the sense that says, you are whole, you are moving, you are safe. And so, as you reach for a glass, as you tie your shoes, as you rest your head against a pillow, remember that there is a story being told. A quiet, ongoing story about your body's place in space, a map being drawn every moment, invisible but true. Proprioception is that map. It is the sense that allows you to live inside your body with trust and with ease. It is the sense of self made silent, and in that silence it sings. Proprioception flows through your life like an invisible thread, stitching together moments of movement, balance, and grace. It is not limited to great acts of skill, not only for dancers, athletes, or acrobats. It is in every quiet motion, every gesture, every shift of weight as you rise from bed or reach for a book on the shelf. The body, without speaking, tells you where it is. You do not think, my arm is at this angle, or my leg is bent just, but you simply know. And in that knowing, you are free to move without fear, without calculation. It is trust embodied. Let us now explore how deeply this hidden sense is woven into emotion, memory, and the rhythms of your daily life. When you are anxious, your body tenses. The muscles stiffen, joints tighten, motion becomes rigid. Proprioception still functions, but the messages become strained. The brain senses this tightness and responds with caution. You move less freely, your steps are shorter, your gestures shrink. But when you are calm, when the breath is steady and the world feels safe, the body moves with softness. Arms swing easily, shoulders drop. The internal map of your body becomes wide open, flowing. This is not just feeling, it is biology. The proprioceptive system is directly connected to the nervous system's emotional centers. The brain's insular and limbic areas, responsible for emotion, receive signals from your muscles and joints. This is why movement can shift your mood. A walk through the woods does more than stretch the legs. It loosens the mind. A deep stretch in the morning invites ease, not only to the body, but to the heart. Proprioception speaks to emotion, reminding us through motion that we are present, that we are real, that we are here. It is also tied to memory in ways we don't often notice. Think of the way your body remembers how to ride a bicycle, even after years, or how your hands know the steps to tie a knot, even if your mind has forgotten the name. These are motor memories, patterns stored in the brain's deeper folds. built from repetition, shaped by proprioception. The limbs remember, the muscles remember, the body becomes a library of movement, a collection of learned stories told through flex and stretch. Even without words, these stories remain. In music, this sense becomes art. A pianist's fingers move across the keys with precision, not by watching, but by feeling the space between notes. A violinist's bow slides with control, guided not by sight, but by the body's deep understanding of tension and angle. Singers too shape their voices through breath, posture, and muscle memory. The body becomes the instrument tuned through proprioception. It allows musicians to perform without thought, to feel each note as part of themselves. In silence, this sense grows stronger. When a person is blind, proprioception becomes an anchor. The absence of sight sharpens the body's internal map. The feet learn to listen to the floor. The hands become eyes. The body adjusts more finely, more quickly. And the brain, always learning, rewires itself to rely more deeply on these quiet messages. It builds a richer, deeper image of the world from within. This is not a loss, but a shift. It is a reminder that proprioception is not secondary, it is essential. Sleep too is touched by this sense. When you roll over in the night, it is proprioception that guides you. The brain does not wake fully, yet the body knows where it is. It adjusts the limbs, finds the edge of the bed, returns to stillness. And in dreams, when we imagine motion, proprioception still whispers. The brain simulates movement using the same pathways, planning steps, reaching, dancing, all within the mind. This is part of why dreams feel real. The sense of the body remains, even while the body itself lies still. There are moments when this hidden sense fades. After injury, after illness, or with certain neurological conditions, proprioception can become confused or silent. Movements become clumsy. The brain must rely more heavily on sight or touch. Tasks that once felt simple, walking, reaching, standing, become complex again. But the body is generous. It learns. With practice, the brain can rebuild connections. It can reawaken the map. Through repetition, therapy, and care, proprioception returns slowly, quietly, like sunlight after fog. In aging, proprioception may soften. Reflexes slow, joints stiffen, the sense of movement becomes less precise, but it does not disappear. And even in its gentler form, it continues to serve. Balance exercises, stretching, mindful walking, all these help keep the inner map clear. Elders who move regularly tend to fall less, feel steadier, remain more confident in their steps. The brain continues to adapt. The sense continues to whisper. This is forward, this is down, this is you in motion. Children build this sense through play. Rolling, spinning, climbing. These are not random acts. They are experiments in proprioception. A child jumping from a low wall learns how knees bend and ankles absorb. A game of tag teaches acceleration, turning, stopping. Cartwheels, somersaults, balancing on one foot. Each one refines the brain's image of the body. When children are denied movement, when they sit too long, the map grows dim. But with freedom, with open space and encouragement, the sense blossoms. The body learns itself by moving. Even language is touched by this sense. When we say we feel grounded or off balance, we speak not only of emotion, but of body. To find your footing is to regain both stability and direction. These phrases come from experience. They remind us that understanding begins in the body. that to be centered emotionally often begins with being centered physically. This is the wisdom proprioception offers, a connection not only to space, but to self. Technology is beginning to explore this sense in new ways. Prosthetic limbs now include sensors that simulate proprioceptive feedback, allowing users to feel where their artificial limb is, how it moves. Virtual reality uses motion tracking to map limbs in digital space. Therapies for stroke and trauma use motion repetition to restore the internal body map. All of these advances point to a deeper truth, that this quiet sense, once overlooked, is in fact central. It is the foundation of motion and the gateway to feeling whole. In meditation and yoga, proprioception becomes a form of awareness. Each stretch, each pose, invites the practitioner to notice not just the outer shape of the body, but the inner experience of where limbs are, how joints align, how breath flows. Mindfulness is not only stillness, it is also motion noticed, and in that noticing, the body and mind draw closer, like hands meeting in the dark. The inner map becomes brighter, clearer, more trusted. Proprioception also helps us know where others are. When you walk beside someone and match their pace, your body is sensing not just your own limbs, but theirs too. When you dance with a partner, when you pass a ball, when you hug, you're adjusting your internal map to include another person. This is called interpersonal proprioception. It is how we move in harmony, how we avoid collisions, how we feel connection in motion. It is part of empathy. It is part of being human. There is a beauty in knowing that your body does not wait for instructions to understand itself. Even before you choose to move, proprioception is already speaking. It predicts, it prepares, it tells your muscles what to expect. This is why movement can feel smooth, why steps flow, why gestures feel natural. The sense anticipates, adapts, adjusts, not once but always. You are never alone in motion. You're always supported by this sonic guide. The more we listen to it, the more graceful we become, not in the sense of performance, but in presence, in the ease of reaching without knocking something over, in the comfort of walking through a room without turning on the light, in the gentle knowing of your body's shape, weight and direction. This is grace, this is proprioception, and it belongs to you. Let us walk now into the final stillness of this story, where the soft edges of proprioception blend into reflection, into quiet knowing. By now you have felt it, not only as a function of muscles and joints, but as something deeper, something whole. The way your fingers know their place, the way your spine adjusts without thought when you sit up straighter, the way your head tilts just enough to listen better. This is not chance. It is the hidden sense of where you are, who you are, how you live inside your body, and it is always with you, even when you forget. Imagine for a moment being suspended in water, your limbs floating weightless, your body shifting gently. In that silence you might ask, where are my arms? Where is my back? Yet even without sight, even without solid ground, your brain knows. Tiny sensors in your muscles, your tendons, your joints, your skin, they whisper, still. They say, here is your elbow. Here is your foot. Here is how far you are reaching. Even with your eyes closed, you can stretch your hand above your head and feel the length of your reach. This is your map, drawn in nerves, stored in memory, refined by movement. As you age, you may notice small changes. You walk more carefully, you hold the railing when climbing stairs, you pay more attention to your steps on uneven ground. But this does not mean the map is lost. It means it is growing more cautious, more deliberate. The inner sense is still there, guiding, protecting. And with mindful movement, gentle yoga, daily walking, stretching in the sunlight, the lines of that map remain clear. The brain, even in A, continues to listen. The body, even in slowness, continues to speak. There is a kind of peace in knowing this, that you are not floating through the world disconnected, that your body is not a stranger to itself. There is no need to constantly check, where am I, because proprioception answers before you ask. It tells you softly, you are standing tall. You are moving forward. You are leaning left. These may seem like simple facts, but they are foundations. They are the reason you can live with ease in your skin, the reason your body feels like home. There are rare times when this sense fades almost completely. In illness, in injury, in certain neurological conditions. In these moments, the body can feel foreign, disconnected, strange. It's as if the lights have dimmed inside. But even then, hope remains. The brain is plastic. It learns, adapts, rebuilds. With therapy, with repetition, with patience, the inner map can be redrawn. It takes time, it takes trust. But the body always reaches for wholeness. It always listens for the signals, even faint ones, and begins to shape them again into clarity. And when proprioception is fully awake, fully alive, it becomes a quiet joy. You may not even notice it. The way you turn your head while driving without losing control of the wheel. The way your hands find each other when you tie a knot behind your back. The way your body rolls from one side to another during sleep without waking. All of this happens because the map is whole, because the inner voice of your body is speaking and the brain is listening. This conversation happens in silence, but it is rich, ongoing, and full of life. There is poetry here. In every motion, no matter how small, the body sings its own name. When you lift a spoon or when you stretch in bed, when you walk through a narrow doorway without brushing the sides, your body is not guessing, it knows. And that knowing is beautiful. It is soft, it is yours. Children move with wild joy because their proprioception is growing, changing, testing its reach. They jump, spin, tumble, roll, not only to play, but to learn. Each movement teaches the brain something new. This is how high I can jump. This is how fast I can turn. This is what falling feels like and getting up. And through this, they build trust in their own limbs, in the space around them, in gravity itself. This trust becomes grace as they grow. A teenager rides a bicycle through winding streets, never looking at the pedals. An adult carries a sleeping child up the stairs, adjusting balance with every step. A grandmother knits, never looking at her fingers. All of it is possible because proprioception continues to guide, to ground, to connect. Life moves forward and the body moves with it, quietly, faithfully. In moments of grief, proprioception offers something even more tender. The way your shoulders curl inward, the way you feel the weight in your chest, the way you wrap your arms around yourself for comfort. These are not just emotions, they are motions, shaped by the sense of self. Your body mirrors your heart and in doing so helps it heal. To sway when sad, to curl up when weary, to stand taller when brave, these are all acts of proprioception responding to feeling, holding you in alignment with your inner world. And in joy this sense sparkles. You skip without planning. You dance in your kitchen. You leap into a hug. You do not calculate these movements. They simply arise because your body feels known to you, safe within you. This is the gift of a strong proprioceptive map. Not only movement, but freedom. Spiritual practices also recognize this sense, though they may not name it. A monk sitting in meditation adjusts posture not by sight but by feel. A prayer offered with bowed head and open hands becomes an act of embodiment. The position of the body reflects the posture of the heart, and this harmony of body and spirit, of motion and meaning, flows through proprioception. It is the reason stillness can feel profound and movement can feel sacred. So what happens when we lose touch with this sense? In a world of screens and sitting, of fast clicks and frozen shoulders, the body's map can grow faint. We forget to stretch, we forget to move, we forget to listen, but it's never too late. A walk in the woods, a few deep breaths, a slow mindful reach toward the sky. These are ways of reawakening, of telling the brain, yes, we are here. Yes, this is our body. Yes, we can feel again. And when we do, when we return to movement, to awareness, to presence, the world shifts. We feel the weight of our own steps, the length of our stride, the pull of gravity, not as burden, but as anchor. We become grounded, centered, whole. You do not need to see your body to know it. You only need to move and feel and trust. In this trust there is peace. In this sense there is wisdom. You were born with it. You carry it still. Proprioception is the memory of your form, quiet, precise, constant. It is the reason your body feels like home. And that is a beautiful, gentle truth. So the next time you reach for something in the dark or sway softly to music with your eyes closed, remember this. There is a part of you that always knows. It knows your arms, your legs, your shoulders, your spine. It knows how you move. It knows how you stand. And it never stops guiding you silently, faithfully, lovingly, through every breath, every step, every small unfolding of your life. Time is not something you can touch. It has no smell, no colour, no taste, and yet deep inside your body, time is felt. It moves through you quiet and steady, like the breath you forget you're taking. There is no ticking clock within your chest, no hourglass behind your eyes. But still, your body knows when to wake, when to sleep, when to eat, when to rest. This knowing is not a guess. It is a sense, gentle and strange, that keeps rhythm with the world. Though not often spoken of, it is one of your hidden senses. The sense of time, of rhythm, of pace. It flows not from outside, but from within. Begin with the heartbeat. It is the first rhythm you ever knew. Thump, pause, thump. Before you ever opened your eyes, before you had a name, your body was dancing to this beat. And the heart, in its quiet wisdom, continues this song your whole life. But it does not beat alone. The lungs too breathe in rhythm. The muscles contract and release. The feet move in patterns when you walk. The brain waves shift through cycles. All of this, all of it, forms a symphony of timing. You're not a still machine. You're a living rhythm shaped by pulses and pauses. Inside the brain, there are clocks. Not the kind with hands or glowing numbers, but small clusters of cells that keep time by firing in patterns. The most important of these is the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN. It is tiny, nestled in the middle of your head, just above where the optic nerves cross. And yet this small cluster of neurons controls your circadian rhythms, the 24-hour cycle of sleep and wake, hunger and digestion, alertness and rest. It listens to light, especially the blue light of morning, and it sets your body's clock accordingly. When morning comes, it tells your body, wake now. When night falls, it says, it is time to sleep. But even without sunlight, your body remembers. This rhythm, the circadian rhythm, is so deeply rooted that it continues even in darkness. It drifts slightly, but it remains. It is a built-in sense of time, older than cities, older than fire. Before clocks, before calendars, your ancestors rose with the sun, slept with the stars, moved with the moon. Their bodies knew the pace of day and night, and yours still does. It remembers, it listens, it feels time pass. This hidden sense does not only keep the clock of the day, it also feels shorter stretches of time, seconds, minutes, hours. Have you ever sat in silence and guessed when a minute had passed? Often you are close. There is something inside you measuring time's flow. Scientists have found that the brain uses patterns of neural firing to estimate time. It is as if your thoughts pass through a hallway lined with candles. As each candle burns, you feel time move. Not in numbers, not in seconds, but in sensation. Movement too carries time. When you tap your fingers to a song, you're following a beat. When you walk, your steps find a natural tempo. Dancers feel time in their bones. Drummers hold rhythm not in their ears alone, but in their arms, in their chest, in their breath. This is why music moves us. It speaks directly to the inner sense of rhythm we all carry. Even a baby not yet speaking will sway to a song. Even a bird sings in phrases, in repeating cycles. The world is full of rhythm, and so are we. Your body also senses duration through emotion. When you are afraid, time stretches. A few seconds feel like minutes. The heartbeat races. The breath quickens. The brain becomes alert, scanning for danger. Everything slows down inside your mind. But when you are joyful, time flies. Hours pass like minutes. This is not just an illusion. It is your internal clock changing its pace, shifting gears to match your feelings. Time in the body is flexible, it bends to your state of being. The cerebellum at the back of your brain helps with this rhythm. It is small and curled like a seashell, and it coordinates timing for movement. It helps you catch a ball, play a melody, dance with grace. If damaged, people struggle to move in time. Their motions become jerky, uneven. It's as if the metronome inside has lost its click. This reveals the importance of time sensing not just for thought, but for action. Without it, motion is not smooth. It loses its music. There is also another kind of timing, a deeper, longer rhythm that lives in hormones. Melatonin rises in the evening, making you sleepy. Cortisol climbs in the morning, helping you wake. Hunger hormones rise and fall with meals. These cycles are not random. They are timekeepers flowing through your blood like tides. They tell your body not just what time it is, but what to do about it. Sleep, eat, focus, rest, all of these are guided by invisible clocks ticking inside your cells. Jet lag is what happens when these clocks disagree with the world around you. When you fly across time zones, your body still thinks it is yesterday. Your rhythms are mismatched. You feel tired at noon, awake at midnight. It takes days for your body to reset, to listen to the light again, to sync with the new rhythm. This is not weakness, it is a sign of how deeply your sense of time is tied to your biology. You cannot simply override it with a new schedule. You must adjust gently, letting the inner clocks catch up. there are people who experience time differently. For some, like those with ADHD, time may feel slippery. The brain struggles to hold on to later, to estimate how long tasks take to stay in rhythm. For others, time may feel frozen. Long hours stretching endlessly, minutes dripping slowly. Depression can distort time, so can anxiety, so can wonder. This teaches us that time is not only on the wall, it is in the body, in the mind, in the heart. Your inner sense of time is not fixed, it breathes with your experience. And yet there are ways to return to your rhythm. Walking, breathing slowly, listening to music, watching the sky shift from day to night. These simple acts reconnect you to time's true pace. They help your body remember what it always knew, that time is not a race. It is not only urgency, it is not only deadlines, it is a rhythm, and you are a dancer in its song. This hidden sense also governs memory. You remember events in sequence. First this happened, then that. Your brain places experiences along a line, but it also senses spacing. How long ago was that moment? Was it yesterday or last year? This temporal awareness is part of your proprioception through time, your ability to feel where you are not just in space but in the stream of moments. Without it, the past becomes fog, the future becomes flat. With it, you feel the difference between now and then, between waiting and arriving. You can even feel time in stillness, sitting under a tree, watching clouds, listening to a clock tick. The body begins to slow to match the rhythm of the quiet. Your heartbeat softens, your breath deepens, your thoughts begin to space themselves like footsteps on a path. This is not boredom, this is alignment. The sense of time is shifting, drawing you back to the center. You are not late, you are not early, you're just here. And in sleep, the sense of time lets go completely. You may dream for hours in a few short minutes, or wake, feeling as if no time has passed. The brain resets, the clocks pause and restart. In this way, time becomes elastic, like a river you step into and out of. You drift, you float, and when you wake, you rejoin the current. Your body is not just a structure, it is a rhythm, a song, a vessel of time. Every breath you take, every step you make is part of a larger beat. You do not always hear it, but you feel it in your bones, in your belly, in your blood. It is your tempo, your measure, your hidden metronome, and it is always with you, not counting down but counting through, guiding your days, marking your moments, letting you know that you are alive and moving and becoming. Time, though invisible, leaves its fingerprints on everything. It is in the rise of the sun and the slow, soft fall of evening. It is in the fading of a footprint in sand, the cooling of tea in a cup, the wrinkle of skin over years. Yet there is a time that moves within you, silent and unseen, a rhythm carried by your body alone. This rhythm is not learned from clocks or calendars. It is not dictated by alarms. It pulses within you from the moment you are born. It is the inner sense of time shaped by biology, breath, and the shifting tides of life. At its heart, this sense is built from cycles. You are a being of cycles, of sleep and wake, of hunger and fullness, of motion and rest. Every cell in your body keeps time. Inside each one, molecular clocks tick with astonishing precision, guiding when genes turn on and off, when proteins are made, when energy is stored or used. These clocks do not chime, but they are faithful. They help your liver know when to process food, Your brain know when to stay alert. Your immune system know when to guard and when to rest. This is called circadian biology, the study of how time flows through the body. The master clock in the brain, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, sets the pace. But each organ has its own local clock, a choir of rhythms all singing the same song. When these rhythms align, the body feels harmony. When they fall out of sync, from missed meals, broken sleep, too much artificial light, the result is fatigue, fog, disorientation. You may feel as though something is off, but not know why. It is the quiet consequence of broken rhythm. But this sense of time is not only chemical, it is also physical. Think of how your body responds to motion, the way you brace for impact before a fall, the way you catch a falling object without planning. These are acts of timing. Your brain predicts the future in milliseconds. It reads cues, calculates trajectories, and moves your muscles before you even finish the thought. This is not thinking, it is sensing. A delicate dance of neurons that measure times passing not in words, but in actions. Athletes live by this sense. A tennis player swings before the ball has finished its arc. A sprinter explodes from the block the instant the gun sounds. A goalkeeper dives before the kick is complete. These motions happen too fast for conscious thought. They are trained, yes, but they are also timed. The body has learned the rhythm. It acts in time with time. Artists, too, are keepers of rhythm. A painter moves her brush in slow, steady strokes. A sculptor feels the pause between hammer strikes. A writer senses the beat of a sentence. Even silence has rhythm. The breath between words, the space between notes. Time moves not just through motion, but through stillness, and the body feels both. When you walk, your feet create a pattern. Left, right. This gait is not random. It is timed with your breath, with your heartbeat. And when you walk with someone else, something magical can happen. Your steps begin to match. This is called entrainment. Two people moving in time without words, without trying. It is the body's way of saying we are together. Even strangers may find their rhythms aligned on a shared path. This alignment reaches into the heart of emotion. When someone speaks with you, your bodies begin to sync. Your posture reflects theirs. Your blinks match pace. Your heartbeats may even drift toward the same rhythm. This is not mimicry. It is empathy in motion. The inner sense of time adjusting to another's. It's part of how you feel connected, part of how you understand each other without speaking. Your brain uses these rhythms to organize experience. Time allows memory to have structure. When you recall your life, you remember it not as a cloud, but as a path. This happened before that. This took longer than that. These judgments are guided by your internal clocks, and they are shaped by context. A joyful moment feels fast. A painful one stretches. Boredom slows time, wonder speeds it up. But the memory of it, the structure, still exists because your brain marks time's flow. Time is also shaped by repetition. A task repeated daily becomes tied to its hour. You wake at the same time, you feel hunger at noon, you grow sleepy as night arrives. These rhythms are not bound to the clock on the wall. They are woven into your cells, into your blood, into the shape of your day. And when those rhythms are disrupted by travel, by stress, by illness, you feel it deeply. You may not know why, but your body does. It's not just fatigue, it's rhythm unmoored. And yet rhythm can be restored by waking with the sun, by moving your body in the morning, by eating meals at regular times, by dimming the lights at dusk. These small acts are not chores. They are rituals of rhythm, ways of telling your inner clocks, this is the time, we are here, we are aligned. Even a walk at the same hour each day can become a metronome for the soul. Your sense of time also guides learning. When you learn something new, your brain needs pauses, spaces between repetitions. It is in these spaces that memory settles. Sleep plays a key role, not only in rest, but in consolidation. During sleep, your brain replays the day, strengthening connections, trimming away excess. This is not passive, it is rhythmic. Certain phases of sleep occur in cycles: deep sleep, light sleep, dreaming, each with its own purpose, each timed with care. Dreams too carry rhythm. Often you feel time pass strangely in dreams. A whole story may occur in moments, or time may loop, bend, stretch. Scientists believe this is because in dreams, your brain's usual timekeepers are quieted. The sense of external time fades, and internal rhythms take over. This is why dreams feel vivid, real, timeless. They are shaped not by seconds, but by emotion, by memory, by need. When you return from a dream, your sense of time snaps back. Morning light tells your eyes it is day. Your CN responds. Melatonin drops. Cortisol rises. You stretch, you rise, and the rhythm resumes. The world greets you again, not with noise, but with rhythm. Birdsong, footsteps, kettle boiling. And your body joins the song as it always has, as it always will. But time is not only about the pace of the body, it also guides creativity. Many artists speak of entering flow, a state where time disappears and only the work exists. In this state, your brain is in perfect rhythm with itself. Thoughts move cleanly, actions feel effortless. Hours may pass unnoticed. This is not magic, it is rhythm. It is the internal clocks lining up with attention, emotion, and action. It is the sense of time working at its highest harmony. Children live in this rhythm naturally. They move from play to rest with ease. They do not glance at clocks. They feel when it is time to stop, to eat, to nap, to run again. They live in cycles, they feel their bodies. They respond to the cues of light and sound and feeling. This is not disorganization, it is deep connection. It is why their laughter rings at just the right moment. Why they collapse into sleep without fear. They are moving with time, not against it. As adults, we often forget this. We chase deadlines, push through fatigue, ignore our rhythms, but the body remembers, and it forgives. The moment you listen again, when you pause, when you rest, when you rise with the sun, the rhythm returns. You do not need to control it, you only need to allow it. This sense of time is not about being fast, it is about being in sync with the world, with your breath, with your purpose. It is not measured only in hours, it is felt in moments, in the way your fingers move through space, in the way your voice rises and falls, in the pause before a thought, the beat before a smile, the quiet between notes. This is time, and you know it well. There is a kind of magic in knowing that your body is a clock, not the loud kind with ticking hands and ringing bells, but a quiet, breathing clock that keeps time with the world around you. You do not wind it. You do not set it. It is tuned by sunlight, by rhythm, by sleep, by sense. It has no face, no numbers, and yet it is faithful. It is constant. This is the hidden sense of time, not just seconds and minutes, but the felt rhythm of life, guiding you gently from moment to moment. When you begin your day, light touches your eyes, and something ancient stirs. The pineal gland lowers melatonin, the brain brightens, your muscles begin to wake, your breath deepens. This happens not because a clock tells you, but because your body feels the morning. It remembers the rhythm of the sun, of the earth turning. Even in a dark room, even without a window, your body will still try to keep that rhythm. That is how deeply it knows. Throughout the day, your inner clocks guide you. There are peaks and valleys, times when you feel sharp and ready, times when you feel slow and quiet. These are not failures, they are part of the pattern. Your alertness rises in the mid-morning, dips in the early afternoon, lifts again as evening approaches. Your temperature changes, your hormones shift, your brain waves roll in different patterns. These waves are not random, they are time, living inside you. This is why naps in the early afternoon feel so gentle, why late-night thoughts feel heavier, why morning walks clear the mind. Your body is not a flat line, it is a curve, rising and falling with time. When you honour these curves, you move more easily. When you fight them, you feel strain. The sense of time, when followed, creates harmony. When ignored, it creates friction. Even your thoughts arrive in rhythm. The way a sentence forms, the pause between ideas, the natural beat in your speech. These are guided by inner timing, by the pace of your mind, shaped by breath, by heartbeat, by feeling. Poets feel this most of all. They write in meter, in line, in breath. Not just for sound, but because the rhythm matches something deeper, the timing of being human. Your body even feels the time between movements. When you reach for a cup, your brain predicts where your hand will be, not just in space, but in time. If your hand is delayed or moves too fast, the brain notices. It corrects. You do not think that took too long, you simply adjust. This constant awareness of motion and pause, of action and delay, is part of your sense of time. Without it, coordination falls apart. You would miss the cup, overshoot the mark, fumble what was once graceful. Time is balance, time is presence. When you listen to music, you are not just hearing sound, you are feeling time. A song without rhythm feels broken, but when rhythm flows, your body responds. You tap your foot, you sway, you feel each note before it arrives. This is not memory, it is anticipation. The brain is always looking ahead, measuring the distance between now and what comes next. Even silence is part of the music. It is the pause that makes the next note sweeter. This same rhythm exists in walking, in dancing, in running. The pace of your feet, the swing of your arms, it is a pattern, a timing. Runners call it cadence, dancers call it tempo. You might call it flow. Whatever the word, the truth is the same. Your body knows how to move through time. It remembers beats, it listens to pauses, it finds its pace again and again, even when the world is noisy. In times of illness or deep sadness, this sense can falter. Days blur, hours stretch or collapse. You lose track. You forget what time it is or what day, but even then your body tries to hold on. The clocks inside keep ticking. The heart keeps beating. The breath keeps rising and falling. These rhythms become your anchor, and as healing begins, so does rhythm. Sleep returns, hunger finds its hour, light begins to mean morning again. This too is part of the hidden sense, the way it guides you back to life. For those who live with mental illness, time can be an uncertain companion. In depression, minutes may feel like hours. In anxiety, time races too quickly to catch. The clocks inside feel out of step. But these changes are not signs of failure. They are messages, signals. The body is trying to tell you something, that your rhythms need care, that rest is needed, that light matters, that stillness can be healing. Time is also connection. When people dance together, they must trust rhythm. One step out of time and the pattern falters, but when steps match, when movement flows, the dance becomes whole. This is true in conversation, in friendship, in love. We find each other in timing, in shared moments, in synchronized laughter, in quiet pauses. Even a hug has rhythm, the lean in, the embrace, the breath held, the gentle release. These are not only feelings, they are timings. They are the body's way of marking meaning. As we age, our rhythms shift. Sleep may come earlier. Mornings may feel brighter. The internal clock slow. This is natural. It is the body's way of matching pace with experience. Elders often find joy in early light, in quiet evenings, in slow afternoons. These are not losses. They are changes in tempo. And the body adjusts, as it always has, finding its rhythm anew. In sacred spaces, temples, mosques, quiet gardens, time feels different, slower, softer. This is no illusion. In stillness, the brain's rhythms change. Alpha waves rise, the nervous system calms. You feel spacious. Time opens. In these moments, your inner clock is not counting, but resting. You feel not the urgency of time, but its peace. Even death is marked by time, the slowing of breath, the final pause of heartbeat, the gentle stilling of motion. But even then, there is rhythm. The moments around passing are often quiet, filled with memory, with held hands, with breath. The rhythm may end, but the echo remains in those who remember, in those who grieve, in those who carry the rhythm forward. So what does it mean to sense time? It means you live inside rhythm, that you are not outside of time watching it pass, but part of it, that every breath you take is a measure, that every movement you make is a phrase, that your life from first cry to final breath is a song with fast parts, slow parts, silences, crescendos and rests. And you, without even trying, are playing that song in perfect time. When you sit quietly without a phone, without a clock, just watching the light shift on the wall, that is your time sense awakening. When you rock a baby to sleep, matching your breath to theirs, that is time shared. When you walk at dusk and feel the air change, that is time lived. These are not small things, they are the whole of it. The way the body knows, the way the soul feels, and so the next time you check the time, remember that you have always known it. Not in numbers, not in deadlines, but in rhythm, in breath, in memory, in motion. You are not late, you are not early, you are right where you are meant to be, in time, in step, in rhythm with the beating of your own heart. Beneath the surface of your skin, beneath the pulse and warmth and breath, there is a compass. Not the kind you can hold, not made of metal or glass, but something quieter, older, and stranger. This compass does not point north with the needle, but with feeling, with alignment, with a pull so soft you barely know it's there. It whispers to you in dreams and wanderings, in the tilt of your head, in the quiet certainty that you are facing the right way. Scientists call it magnetoreception, the body's hidden sense of Earth's magnetic field. But to you, it may feel like intuition, like knowing, like being gently guided. All around this spinning Earth there is a field, invisible, protective, ancient. It is born deep in the planet's molten heart in the swirl of iron and liquid fire. This magnetic field stretches far beyond the clouds, curving through space like a great unseen breath. It shields us from solar winds, from cosmic storms, from particles too fierce to name. But it also does something else, something more mysterious. It touches us, it moves through us, and for some creatures it speaks. Birds have long followed it. From Arctic terns that glide from pole to pigeons returning home from places they've never seen, these feathered travellers ride magnetic currents with a sense we do not fully understand. They know where to go, not by maps, not by stars, but by sensing the Earth itself. Their bodies are tuned to the field like instruments, and we too are instruments, though we have forgotten how to listen. Inside your eyes there are molecules that may be sensitive to magnetism. Cryptochromes they are called. Strange light-reactive proteins also found in birds. Some researchers believe that in certain conditions these molecules allow you to see the magnetic field, not as a shape but as a sense, a subtle influence on your perception. You may not see it, but it may gently shift how you feel, how you turn, how you move, as if the world is softly nudging you in the right direction. In your brain, particularly in the hippocampus, the place of memory and navigation, there are neurons that light up in patterns as you move through space. They're called place cells. They remember where you've been, even without signs or sounds. They mark invisible trails in your mind. Some scientists believe these cells are influenced not only by what you see, but by what you feel magnetically. That your body keeps a map written in the language of fields and directions. But this sense is not loud. It's not something we teach in school. It is not measured in tests. It lives in instinct, in the quiet certainty of animals. Turtles hatch on beaches and crawl unerringly toward the sea, guided not just by moonlight but by Earth's pull. Salmon swim back upstream to the rivers where they were born, finding home through a force we can't see. Even cows and deer often align their bodies with magnetic north as they rest, without knowing why. It is not a decision, it is a response, and perhaps once we've felt it too, before roads and compasses, before street signs and satellites. Perhaps we navigated with their buried sense. Early travellers wandering forests and deserts, trusting the tilt of their bodies, the calm in their bones, the clarity of turning a certain way. Perhaps the sense has faded, not lost, but quieted, waiting in the corners of our perception. Some studies suggest that humans too react to shifts in magnetic fields. In dark rooms with no sound or light, subtle changes in the field can alter brainwaves, especially in the alpha range, the gentle hum of relaxed awareness. The body notices even if the mind does not, and in some rare individuals, the sense is more pronounced. They can feel orientation shift, as if the world slightly turns when the field changes. It is not vision. It is not hearing. It is something else. The sense of direction without direction. This sense may even influence your dreams. As you sleep, your brain rests in waves. And some researchers wonder if those waves too are touched by Earth's field. Magnetic storms far above have been linked to shifts in sleep patterns, in moods, in rhythms. You may have felt it, a night of restless tossing with no reason, a day of strange emotion when the sky was clear. Perhaps in those moments the body was feeling the sky's invisible weather, and if we are connected to the Earth's field, then we are part of something vast. We are not floating alone, but held in a web of quiet force, guided not by rules, but by rhythm. This magnetic sense is not about knowing facts, it is about feeling place, belonging, movement. It is about walking into a forest and knowing where you are without thinking. It is about standing still and feeling the direction change in your chest, in your gut, in your spine. This is not magic, it is nature. The kind of nature we often overlook because it does not shout, it whispers, it is soft. But if you pause, if you breathe, if you turn slowly in place with your eyes closed, you might begin to feel it, that sense of rightness in one direction, the strange resistance in another. You might begin to notice the compass inside you, quietly spinning, always pointing home. And so, while we map our world with technology, while we build grids and numbers and routes, remember that beneath all of it, your body still listens to the earth. It still feels the pull. It still moves with the same magnetic breath that guides birds, that shapes waves, that flows through stone. You are not separate from this force. You are part of it. A moving, sensing, remembering being, held gently in the arms of a planet that always knows where you are. Imagine drifting across a quiet field at dawn, the air still and cool, the light just beginning to bloom at the edge of the sky. You're not using a map, you're not following signs, yet something inside you feels where to go. A pull not in your hands, but somewhere deeper, quieter. This is not memory. It is not logic. It is a sense so subtle it often hides beneath thought. The earth is beneath your feet, and it is speaking, not in words, in fields, in forces, in the steady hum of magnetism. And your body is listening. This pull, this guidance is not one sense alone. It may be built from many, from the balance in your ears, the flow of light in your eyes, the tug in your muscles, the orientation of your body in space. But there is something more, a sense that doesn't require sound or sight, but feels the very shape of the planet. Some researchers call it a sixth sense. Others say it is a forgotten one. Either way, it is there, hidden in the folds of your biology, quiet, patient, waiting. Deep in your inner ear, near the loops of the semicircular canals that help you balance, there are structures made of crystals and hair cells. These help you detect motion, gravity, tilt. But some scientists believe there may also be materials there that are sensitive to magnetic fields. Tiny particles of magnetite, the most magnetic substance known in biology, found in bacteria, in fish, in bird, and in humans. These particles respond to the Earth's magnetic lines, like microscopic compass needles nestled inside living tissue. It's hard to imagine that something so small could change how you move or where you turn. But nature works in whispers. A few degrees of tilt, a single neuron firing, a tiny shift in a field. And suddenly the body adjusts, the eyes move, the head turns, the feet begin to walk in a new direction. Not because of thought, but because of sensing. In migratory animals, this is well studied. Monarch butterflies travel thousands of miles using the sun and the Earth's magnetic field. They tilt their wings at precise angles, guided by light and force. Sea turtles cross oceans, returning years later to the exact beach where they were born. A journey guided by magnetism, etched in their bodies like a secret map. Even tiny creatures, like fruit flies and honeybees, can detect magnetic fields and use them to orient their movement. In humans, the sense may be fainter, more shadowed, but that does not mean it is gone. In controlled studies, people placed in rotating magnetic fields, shielded from sound, light, motion, showed changes in brain activity. Alpha waves dip and swell. Parts of the brain that track direction quietly adjust. These changes are not visible to the eye. They do not create feelings of spinning or nausea. They are not even conscious, but they suggest that somewhere inside the compass still turns. What would it mean if we truly recognized this sense? If we stopped thinking of our bodies as disconnected from the Earth's rhythms? If we remembered that we are not just walkers on the planet, but listeners, that we are not just guided by stars and machines, but by the planet itself, perhaps we would move differently, more slowly, with more trust. Perhaps we would listen more. There are people who seem to feel this sense more clearly, not through tests or experiments, but through life. Travelers who feel when they've lost their way before they check the map. Hikers who notice a pull towards certain paths. Children who seem to always know where home is, even in a new place. This is not magic. It is attention. It is the body speaking in the only language it knows. Sensation, orientation, rhythm. Even ancient cultures spoke of such things. Indigenous peoples across continents have traditions of orientation, of knowing the land through the eye. In some Aboriginal Australian groups, people navigate vast deserts without maps, guided by song lines, paths sung into being, encoded with direction and memory. These songs are not just stories, they are maps, and they are felt. The landscape is remembered not only in the mind, but in the body, in movement, in rhythm, in knowing. In Japan, the concept of Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing, speaks to something similar. When you walk in nature, not for exercise, not for goals, but simply to be, your body begins to align. Blood pressure lowers, cortisol drops, the nervous system softens. And many report a sense of clarity, of orientation, as if something inside is clicking back into place, as if the forest is helping the compass to spin freely again. Even in cities, this sense is not lost. The body can still feel direction, still notice alignment. It may be harder to hear, buried beneath steel and signal, but it is not gone. You may feel it when you turn a corner and suddenly breathe easier, when a certain street feels right without explanation, when a building seems to pull your gaze without design. The magnetism of place, felt not in thought, but in sensation. Technology often distracts from this. With digital maps and satellite guidance, we move through the world without needing to feel it. But something is lost in that ease, a soft skill, a kind of intimacy with the planet. When we navigate only by screen, the inner compass quiets. It grows uncertain, it forgets. But like all forgotten senses, it can return. It is not a muscle, but a memory, one that lives in the bones, in the balance, in the rhythm of the world beneath your feet. To awaken it, you do not need science, see? You do not need theory. You only need stillness. Time, a walk without a destination, a turn without a reason, a listening not with ears but with attention. Perhaps even closing your eyes and turning slowly in place, waiting for the gentle nudge of this way. That's how it begins, not with certainty, but with curiosity, with trust. And as you move with that feeling, something shifts. The world feels more alive, the path feels more like a conversation. You are no longer just walking through space, that you are part of it, held by it, aligned with it. Your sense of self expands, stretches, softens. You are not just going somewhere, you are remembering how to belong. This sense may never be measured perfectly, it may never be reduced to tests or data or maps, and that is part of its beauty. It is not for proving, it is for feeling, for remembering that you are not lost, that even when the mind is confused, the body remembers. Even when the way is unclear, something deeper knows how to move. You are, after all, made from the earth. You are of it, not separate. The iron in your blood once flowed through mountains. The water in your cells once fell as rain. The field that wraps this planet touches you now, just as it touches the wing of a bird in flight, the shell of a turtle, the quiet fur of a sleeping deer. It is all one field, one pull, one soft ancient guidance. And so, when you feel uncertain, pause, breathe, turn slowly, feel the weight of your feet on the ground. Listen not with ears, but with the whole of you. Somewhere inside, the compass is still turning, and it will never stop. The earth is always whispering, not in voices or languages, but in fields, in pulses, in invisible lines that weave through the soil, through the sky, through you. To live on this planet is to live inside its rhythm, and deep within your being, your body remembers. The magnetic sense, quiet and ancient, is not about direction alone. It is about connection. It is about feeling yourself as part of something larger, a creature not only walking upon the earth, but moving with it, listening to its song. In the final soft pages of this story, we turn not to questions of how, but to wonder why. Why does this hidden sense matter? Why does the pull of the earth, so subtle and often silent, still move us so deeply? Perhaps because it reminds us that we are never truly alone. Even when we do not know where we are going, the earth is holding us. Its field wraps around us like a gentle breath, a compass not of iron, but of belonging. Some people speak of moments when they feel oriented, not in space but in spirit, when they feel as if they are standing exactly where they are meant to be. These are not accidents. These are the echoes of alignment. Moments when your inner compass hums softly in tune with the world around you. It is not loud, it is not grand, but it is real. A kind of internal yes, a resonance that says, this way, this place, this moment is right. In times of confusion, in moments of decision, the mind looks for signs, logic, facts, evidence, but the body listens for something else. It listens for alignment, for direction that is felt, not calculated. The magnetic sense may not give answers, but it offers presence. It brings you back to the ground beneath your feet, to the pull in your chest, to the breath that slows when you turn toward what feels true. And sometimes the compass does not point north, it points inward. It shows you not just where to go, but who you are when you are most at peace, when you're walking not for achievement, but for joy, when you are moving not to arrive, but to return, to yourself, to the earth, to the deep, quiet rhythm that lives in every cell. As science continues to explore magnetoreception, it may uncover new mechanisms, new explanations. Perhaps cryptochromes will reveal more of their mystery. Perhaps the particles of magnetite will tell us how they guide. Perhaps the brain's maps will become clearer, the patterns of neurons more precise. But even without answers, the sense remains. It does not wait for proof. It simply continues, humming gently beneath awareness, guiding us like a tide. There is beauty in not knowing everything, in letting a mystery remain a mystery, not to avoid understanding but to honour the depth of what we cannot yet name. The magnetic sense is like that. It belongs to the category of the sacred ordinary, part of the body, part of nature, and yet still shimmering with the unknown. When we walk in nature, in forests, along shorelines, across open fields, we may begin to feel this sense awaken. The farther we go from noise, from distraction, from signals that pull us outward, the more we begin to hear what's always been within. It is not dramatic, it is not sudden, but there is a shift, a deepening, a reorientation. The feet become more certain, the breath more even, the heart more calm, the mind more still. This is the compass at work, not pointing to a place but to a way of being, a way of listening, of remembering that the earth is not something you walk upon like a distant floor, but something you are made of, that its pull is not just gravity, not just magnetism, but love, a love so steady, so vast, so quiet. It holds you even when you forget. And perhaps when we learn to feel this sense again, not just as a scientific curiosity, but as a lived experience, we become more gentle with the world. We realize that the earth is not a resource, but a relationship. That every field line, every subtle force is an invitation to move with care, to walk softly, to trust more, to rush less. There are cultures that bury their dead facing a certain direction, that build homes aligned with the earth's flow, that greet the sunrise not as a symbol, but as a signal, a magnetic beginning to the day. These rituals are not superstition, they are echoes of the compass. They are ways of living in tune with forces too deep to see. They remind us that orientation is not just where we stand, but how we stand, in respect, in wonder, in alignment with the planet that gave us life. Even the smallest choices, which path to take, which side of the bed to rise from, which hand to use to open a door, are part of this quiet choreography. The compass does not demand, it does not control, but it offers, it envoy. And when you follow its pull, you may find that the day feels smoother, that the world opens in small ways, that something deep within feels right. And so, as this final story comes to rest, let yourself breathe into the stillness of knowing you are held, that you are guided not only by thought, but by field, that within you the compass never sleeps. It spins softly in your cells. It aligns your steps with the earth's invisible lines. It carries the memory of birds, of turtles, of ancient wanderers who moved without maps, but never lost their way. You are not lost, you never were. The body's compass is always turning, not to find the way forward, but to bring you back to yourself, to place, to belonging, to a planet whose pull lives in your blood, in your bones, in the quiet rhythm of your being. And when you feel it, not as fact but as feeling, let it remind you that you are home, not someday, not somewhere, but here, now, in this moment on this earth, carried gently by the field that has always known your name.